everyone, welcome back to my channel Kazzalistic. Before I start waffling too much, I'll get started. So the first two things that I've made they're actually brooches, flower brooches. This is using a Bob Wilson 123 pattern, which I'll put the link for the video tutorial down in the description box. Both using kind of it's like a ribbon yarn. It's from, I actually got this from a car boot sale, so I think it was quite an actually old yarn, but it's by Kazzalistic, Soiree, S-O-I-R-E-E, the silk look it's called, and the shade was pink 505. It's just a 50-gram ball. It is a British yarn. It was made in Harrogate in Yorkshire, but that's the label. So I've made out of those. So like I say, I just had one ball because it came from a car boot sale. I'd have had it several years, but I decided to make some flowers out of it. So they will be gifts at some point. I'm not quite sure who I'm going to give them to yet, but we'll be giving those away. I've also been, although winter is fast approaching, thinking about spring. I don't like the winter. I don't know, I expect there's probably quite a lot of you like me. I absolutely hate winter. Don't mind autumn, it's fine at the moment. It's a bit chilly, but it's not too cold. But I really hate winter. So I've been thinking about spring, trying to cheer myself up. So one of the things that I've been making is daffodils. Ta-da! I've actually made, I think it's about 7 I think I've made of these, but I won't get them all out, you know, daffodil's a daffodil. I've used floristry wire to attach them. You just bend it over the top and then stitch over it to cover it, and then use floristry tape to tape around it. The only thing I've found with the floristry tape, it's not as sticky as I would have hoped, and it doesn't like going over yarn very much, so I've had to go over it a few times. It's trial and error. These were actually from the Happy Berry Crochets, another YouTube channel, and she does tutorials for these daffodils, so again I'll put the link down in the description. She also does other tutorials for other flowers, one being rosebuds. This is still a work in progress. I've got to put the green, I don't know what it's called to be honest, but the green bit that goes on the bottom of the flower, and obviously I've still got to put the stem on it. This is actually going to be a memorial flower. I can't say too much more because the person that I'm making it for might be watching, so once it's finished I will then share, because obviously they'll then have it. So but that's my first ever attempt at any kind of rose. Don't think it's come out too badly. I'd like to know what you think. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. And the other one I've been working on doesn't actually look very much at the moment. Again, it's still a work in progress. This is going to be a tulip. I need to put the wire through the bottom. That's the next stage. You stuff it, and basically once it's stuffed you then sew from here to here, and then from there to there. So basically it will nip in sort of like that. It's not very easy to do obviously on camera, but it'll be tulip. So be interesting to see how that turns out, and I'll try and put the finished product obviously in the next video if I remember. These are both again Happy Berry Crochet channel's tutorials. She does do the free written patterns, I think, for all of them, or certainly at least some of them, but if I link the tutorial then you should be able to find all her details for the pattern and etc. through there, so I'll put that down in the description box. Okay, next I've made a coat, not for myself but for a little doggy. This is the second time I've made this. The first time didn't go very well. The pattern I've used was okay, but it came up much smaller than the measurement said. I'm not sure why, whether it was me or the mistake in the pattern, but basically head goes through here. This obviously lays down the dog's back, and then there's a little bit underneath with a button, which obviously just then does up there. Second attempt, we have tested it on the recipient, and it does fit him, so I'm quite relieved. And the pattern was actually one that my mum found online for me, and it's called mumsloveofcrochet.com, and that's mum, M-O-M-S, not the UK spelling, so if you're in the UK it's the American spelling, and it's the cross-stitch dog sweater. It's okay, the pattern. I got a little bit confused. I've only been crocheting for a year, so I'm still kind of new to some bits. The bit round the neck, there was supposed to be some ribbing. It was supposed to be kind of like a polo neck kind of thing, you know, where it rolls over. But the instructions, well, it just kind of ended up with a flap from going by what the instructions said. So I actually changed it and I just did a couple of single crochet rows just around the neck hole, and it does fit over his head because we've checked. The only other thing was that, I mean, the pattern said to use a 5.5mm crochet hook. Well, I couldn't find my 5.5, so I did downsize it to a 5, which probably was a mistake, but hey, you learn by your mistakes. It's supposed to be 14.5 inches from the neck to the base, so from here to here. But my first attempt was probably about 8 inches, and I think some of it's because I downsized the hook, but I don't think it was all that. I think some of it was the pattern as well. So second attempt, I upped it to a 7mm hook, and I used 2 strands of yarn at the same time, and that seems to have come up much better. And this was actually my first go at doing a cross stitch, so that was a bit of a learning curve, but it was a cross stitch using a long double crochet, or in the UK terms that would be a long triple crochet. So if you're in America it's a long double crochet, if you're in the UK it's a long triple crochet. I tend to use American terminology just because all the tutorials on YouTube, pretty much with the exception of Bella Coco, I think pretty much all of them work in US terminology, and for me I've just found logically it works a lot better, so it makes more sense. That's not dissing any of my English crochet friends. I know Jan Carruthers works in English terminology. Unfortunately, when you're trying to learn, I know it's all in American, you just have to go with what you learn, but I've found actually most patterns are in US terminology, so I found it easier in that respect. So this one was in US terminology, so it's a long double crochet, UK long triple crochet, and it's a cross stitch. It was a little bit tricky, but once I got the hang of it, it's come up okay. In second attempt it has actually come up to the measurements I've wanted, but I did have to up the size of the hook quite considerably to a 7mm. So if any of you try that, you just need to be aware that you might have to up your hook size. But yeah, so that's going off tomorrow, and hopefully keeping Litland warm. So that's that one. And the third thing is again a work in progress. This was part of a kit that I purchased recently. It's from a company called the Crochet Kit Company. They have a website which is crochetkitcompany.co.uk. You can also buy the kits on Amazon in the UK. I have had one of the kits before and I've actually found them quite good. Their terminology is in English terminology for crochet. I'm okay because I find it pretty easy to adapt, to be honest, once you've got the pattern going. So this is roughly what it's supposed to look like. If the camera's focusing, I can't tell, so hopefully it is. If it's not, I'll put a picture in. And it's called the Treble Shawl Kit. So if you were in America, it's a double shawl kit. So because basically it's double crochets or triple crochets if you're in the UK. The wool or the yarn, whatever you want to call it. I always say wool. I just always called it wool, even if it's acrylic or something else. I know technically it's not right, it's supposed to be yarn, but you have to forgive me if I switch between terminologies. So this is what I've done so far. This is my first shawl I've ever made. I absolutely love the colours. The colours are greys and kind of grey blues and two different shades of purple. The yarn is the West Yorkshire Spinners signature. It's a 4-ply wool. It's 75% wool, 25% nylon. The colour, which is this ball of wool, is a variegated wool, as you can see. The colours that I've just mentioned. This one's called Wood Pigeon. Actually, is very apt because if you live in the UK, I don't know what colour your pigeons are in America, sorry, but wood pigeons in the UK are this colour, all these different colours. And to start with, I was a little bit like, why do they call it wood pigeon? But as I've worked on it, it actually makes sense now. I absolutely love this. The only thing I will say, it smells a bit like a public lavatory, so I'm definitely going to have to wash it. I've got quite a sensitive sense of smell, so I'm guessing it's something to do with the dyeing process, you know, but I've never had wool or yarn that has smelt like this. Smell aside, I'm really enjoying doing this so far. From the tip to the top, I've got to get it to 65 centimetres. I'm not there yet. I think I've done about 30 or 40 centimetres, something like that. I think it was about 35 last time I measured it, so I've got quite a way to still go. It's a really simple pattern. It's just 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, repeat it. The start of the end of each row is a double crochet, 2 double crochets in the same stitch at the end, and a chain 3 and a double crochet in the same stitch at the beginning. And that's all there is to it. It's a very simple pattern. There is another yarn to which will be to do the border, which is this one, which again is West Yorkshire Spinner signature 4-ply. This one was called Penny Royal. It's kind of a lavender type colour. This is to go round for the edging apparently, so obviously I haven't got to that stage yet. Can't comment. So far the pattern has been really simple and easy to follow. Don't know what it's going to be like when I get to the edging. I think from what I've looked at, it looks like I'm going to be able to work it out. So anyway, yeah, this is the yarn for the border. It does say on the back of this that it is ideal for socks, so for those of you knit, and I know there are quite a few of you on YouTube, this apparently is very good for making socks. The yarn was made in Yorkshire by the West Yorkshire Spinners in Cayley, and they do have a website, and it's www.wyspinners.com. So if any of you are interested in getting that yarn, like I said, I highly recommend it. It hasn't snagged, it hasn't frayed, it's been great to crochet with. I've really enjoyed it. The colours are just beautiful. Wow. But we can wash it, so that's not so bad. But so that's it for the time being. Yeah, so I'd love to hear what you guys are making, what you're up to at the moment, what your works in progress are. But hope you're all having a good week, and take care of yourselves, be safe, happy crochet. Until next time, stay true to yourself. Bye.